Welcome back. Here's where you left off. Spoilers ahead for chapters 17 through 20 of Expeditionary Force Book 18, Gateway. Leonard, I have just one question for you. After reading the last few chapters, how do you feel?
Okay. Because you've read the chapters before I did. Because we tried to sync up, but you ended up finishing before I did.
I didn't say anything about these chapters. I didn't say a word.
You didn't say anything. That's granted. You typically ruin it for me, but typically this time you didn't. And the only encrypted message I got from you is, I'm going to give you the first 5 minutes. And I was like, WTF, you just said something that I'm not going to like. And when I was in the train coming back from downtown, going home, I read the part that was like, what the hell? The only Canadian died. I was so devastated, and we lost another amazing character. And to be honest with you, I'm not mad that she got killed off. I got mad because Katie Frey was been there for such a long time. Right? It's like her death and how it was written was so, in my opinion, was so well done, because she got stuck in the spinner or whatever they call it now, and Skippy got ejected, and they're trying to rescue Skippy, but at the same time Katie Frey got stuck inside the spinner, and they're raced for the clock. Right? And when they're about to rescue her, the times is up, she lost air. And she died inside. And they had a memorial service. And the biggest thing that actually came out, the whole thing, is Joe's even says that I need to read her profile regarding her if she died in the line of duty. And one of the things is to be cremated and bring her back to Canada, and her ashes to be spread out throughout the Canadian Rockies. And the biggest thing that Joe said throughout the whole during that whole thing is, we can't even do that. We can't even take her body home, and that was incredibly sad. That was incredibly well written. It was a very well executed, and it felt very, it wasn't like a big death scenes compared to the side, to Jeremy, to what's his name, the other one. It wasn't as like gung-ho death. This one was she was locked in, and she died without air. Right. You know, I wanted it to be, they're going to figure out some way to get her out. I think there's a lot of problems with these chapters for me, and I was actually expecting a much different reaction from you. Not the fact that she died. Okay, he killed her off. Fine. He's done that before. The thing that bothered me the most was when we started chapter 17 and they're discussing it and how to do it. The first thing that comes up is, Joe, you can't go out there. I was thinking, my God, they've turned Frey into a red shirt. That was my first thought. Wow, thanks for destroying someone's memorable career fiction.
No, just listen to me. At no point has anyone else taken Skippy out for anything in danger or whatever, Joe skydiving, all the craziness Skippy's done in the asteroid. Every time it's been Joe. This one time, Frey's the red shirt going out, and I'm like, this is going to end very badly.
Well,
but then I had hope. So Skippy's ejected. They're gonna go. They're gonna figure out a way. Skippy's gonna pull his magic. I think my objection here was the way that Craig wrote it. Okay, because you started off one chapter where it's just like, she's dead. Like, there wasn't, Skippy goes to try to get into the thing and so forth, and he can't, whatever the reasons are. And then the next chapter, she's just dead. There's no Skippy trying something amazeballs or whatever or crazy. It's just she's dead, right? So then I thought,
I think that was the point, though. I think that was the point of having someone die like that, sort of like a very anticlimactic way. It sort of tells the audience that it's complete, because it tells the audience, in my opinion, that the whole scenario is out of their hands. It shows that whatever they're trying to do, they can't fix it, right? And it does work, right?
The weird thing about it, and I mean, when we lost Smythe, there was some large emotional impact of it, right? And it was for a purpose, and Frey's death is of a purpose, right? And I guess where it was cut was the part that I took objection to. However, the other interesting thing is that then they kind of abandon the spinner. They're kind of going after the array now, right? They're talking about going after the array in chapter 20, right? And I'm thinking, what you're just Frey's dead. Oh, that didn't work out. Let's move on. And then I was like, come on, guys, figure out how to get into this spinner, I guess the writing choice there, I was thinking, so now we're just moving on real quick here, right? How did you feel about the pace of the writing
The pace itself is kind of interesting because remember let's start from the beginning, though. So Skippy got ejected, so they're trying to save Skippy. They tried everything. They're literally shooting darts at him to slow him down, right? And there's a lot of problems regarding just the law of physics, just the law of everything. If you look at it, they're trying to slow him down. So I understand all that. They're running out of fuel. They're running out of darts. Those are consumable items that they have to address, and it was addressed accordingly. I have no problems with that. When Frey dies because they ran out of time, that's understandable. No issues there. Regarding as you say, they're just gonna abandon her. They didn't really abandon her, in my opinion. They mourn her loss. They can't go back in there because they just don't have the capacity to get into the spinner to grab her body. That's fine. No problems there. For you to say abandoning her and trying to figure out what's the next step, it is an evolution trying to figure out a problem.
Well, no. What I was asking you was, maybe you misunderstood the question, was, so the whole purpose of the last book and this one was to find the spinner. So they found the spinner now. So Frey dies in the spinner, trying to figure this stuff out. And now all of a sudden, Joe's perspective is, well, maybe we'll just go find the array that he's going to use to call his buddies and blow that up. Is sort of the idea behind it. Why are you abandoning the spinner? Is it because you can't get into it? Frey's dead. Okay, sure. But shouldn't you put more effort into get into the spinner? Because to be like, okay, so I mean, you're not going to put Skippy back in there. Okay, that's it. That's a point. You can't put him back in. It'll spit him back out. He's what did it call him?
I don't know.
Contaminated something or other.
Yeah, he was contaminated. Like he's considered contaminated because he's not like he's been involved too much. Contaminated. He's a dirty. He's a dirty can. dirty can.
Yeah.
But like for me, is like for them to say, "Hey, we can't get in there." That's fine. We have zero technology to get in there. That's fine. For them to move on, try to figure out, for them to say, what is the next step? What can we do next? We can't solve it right now because theoretically they are in a time crunch here, right? For them to say we gotta find another solution, that's called problem solving.
I was going to ask you, did we talk about him destroying the array in a previous episode? Did we ever discuss that? I'm trying to remember now.
I don't remember. I can't remember.
It seems like a logical approach that we would want to take in finding the array. Because when it was stolen, I think we talked about it, and I was just wondering if we talked about destroying it then.
Yeah, we talked about getting it picked up by the outsider, but I don't remember if we talked about destroying it. To be honest with you, But here's the thing, though. Okay, let's go back to your questions original. Your question originally. The issue that you had originally is like them leaving Frey inside the spinner and moving on to the next task. You didn't like that because what?
No, what I said was if they had if the spinner is the thing. Well, actually, maybe I'm going to argue against myself now because Skippy did make a point to say that the spinners were, sort of like something that the ancients didn't really rely on per se, right? So if we're looking at the spinners as the ability to kill the outsider, if they can't get into the spinner, then they have to do the next best thing, which would be destroying the array. Now they're trying to figure out where the array is, right? But when you're talking about like Skippy himself and figuring that out, I wonder if Skippy's approach of, oh no, that's not going to work either. I'm talking this out now. I'm talking this out because I'm thinking actually from Craig's perspective where he's writing it, saying, okay, I've killed off Frey, and I'm thinking he just is pushing the plot along. Like that's his perspective. He's just going to push the plot along now, right? Like he wants to give this. They tried it, didn't work, and he's pushing the plot along. I'm not actually being critical here of Craig. I'm just saying that I thought like he jumped past it really quickly. I mean, it was not as emotionally impacted as other characters he's killed off because of how quickly he went through it. Maybe that's the point I'm trying to make.
To be honest, I'm disagreeing in that one because it didn't show. Let's just say it did not show this grandiose way to kill a character. Right? She did not die in the middle of a battle. She did not die in the middle of a mission. Sorry, she didn't die in the middle of like a gunfight, for example, or a ship being destroyed, whatever. She didn't die that way. She died in a way that a character is doing her job. She was by herself, and how she died is losing air. That was not she died because she lost air. She didn't die because she got shot or her ship exploded or her unit got bombarded with bombs. She died because she lost air. And the way it was written, the way how they lost her is a struggle. Even Joe itself was struggling the whole time. And getting frustrated regarding why we keep doing this, why are we losing, why are we not shooting every minute, every exact time, all the time. And after that, he even said several times, I think he said it twice or three times, that every time they try to move forward, something has to happen, right? And everything just gets amplified so much. By the time they get back to the spinner, it was too late, right? And that shows, in my opinion, that's what I'm saying. I have no problems how she died. It's sad. It was well written because it was so well thought out that every single death in this series, it doesn't have to be a big battle. She died because of lack of, they ran out of time, right? Before, all the battles was like very fast paced. This one, it was stretched in a way that it shows time. By the time they get back to Frey, it was too late, right? And that's what I'm saying, that the way it was done, it was like it was very well done in my opinion, because it showed time that they can't, that it's out of their hands, right? And to be honest with you, Derek, when I was reading this, I was reading it going home from downtown, and halfway to my commute, I literally just like, wow, okay. My thoughts as well too, that I thought they're gonna save her, but they were too late. And
I guess also I was wondering about, hey, maybe we'll have like you know how he does, he switches it up sometimes, but the funeral kind of puts the nail in the coffin to it. So I'm thinking that's probably a no. There won't be any backing up of this, you know. It's the whole thing. Well, they had the funeral, so it's probably going to be stuck there, don't you think?
if she comes back, I'll be pissed. I'll be incredibly pissed.
Yeah, well, they did. He did a good job for it with the funeral and everything and all that.
Yeah.
But let's change gears for a second here. Let's talk about what was interesting during all of that between, and I guess he sort of put in there, lighten things up a little bit, in chapter 19 where he was talking about the order to watch Star Wars in. And I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
This has always been an ongoing thought of, in my head. It's like, okay, I have nieces and nephews that are very curious about Star Wars, right? They're not big sci-fi people, but they did ask my brother if they end up watching it, are they gonna watch it based on how they release it in the movies or in sequence, right? And I thought about that. He actually made a good point that Skippy actually made a good point. If you end up watching how the theatrical release is, you'll see Anakin with a big smile on his face and saying, "What the hell's wrong with this guy? He just literally, he's the bad guy. Who is this person?" Right? So you don't know who this person is. The first time I saw Star Wars, I didn't know who that third person was. Right? And when they did the episode 1, 2, and 3, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, that's in my head, right? The order of things, in my personal opinion, okay, you guys can debate this in the comment section. It's supposed to be episode 1, 2, 3, Road 1, 4, 5, 6. That's how I should be.
So you believe you should watch it chronologically from the beginning?
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. I actually disagree with that.
Well, here, hold on. Before you continue with that one, the reason why I'm saying that way is you have to look at the person who's watching it. If the person is in our generation, yes, go straight to 4, 5, 6. But if you're looking at a 10-year-old or in our teens, like early teens, yes, you gotta watch it that way because they're gonna say, "Why? Who is this guy?" You know, just think about that. Okay, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, the main argument to this is the ghost of Anakin at the end of episode 6. That's the argument there, that he would not be happy-go-lucky, and how would you understand? And I completely disagree with that. I completely disagree with that argument, because at the end of episode 6, you know, he kills off the Emperor. He goes back to the, you know, he turns away from the dark side. So him ending with him smiling and so forth, regardless of what his past was, does make logical sense to me. So that argument, just to watch it from that order, doesn't. But what I feel is interesting is to watch 4, 5, and 6 because it is a self-contained storyline. Right? And I agree that Rogue One is great, and I agree that having the timeline would be great. However, George doesn't always do the best at having the chronological thing make sense. But what he does do a good job is telling the story across a couple movies, right? And so I make the argument that watching 4, 5, and 6 is its self-contained story because that's the heart of the story. 7, 8, 9 doesn't exist. We hate 7, 8, 9. I don't know what Disney was thinking of, but we'll just talk about the originals, right?
This is pre-Disney, so anything that's post-Disney is just like sucks.
Anyway, what we're saying here is that to watch 4, 5, and 6, and then to say to the watcher, to say, hey, do you want to know where Darth Vader came from? Why he was the way he is? Because you don't know. You just know he's a baddie. You don't know why. And here are the prequels to tell you how did he become bad, right? Because in the end, you know that it's his father. So you have by the end of the last film, in episode 6, you have those questions of, you know, it's his son, what's going on, what's happening, you know, you have all these questions. Then you can go back and watch the first 3 episodes, have those questions answered. If you watch it from episode 1 and you see how evil he is in doing that, when you walk into New Hope, he has this air of mystery about him. So does the Emperor, so does everybody else. They have this air of mystery from 4, 5, and 6, where they're this evil thing that's out there that you can't quite touch, that's really mysterious. If you watch the first 3 episodes and you don't get that sense of it, you know their backstory already. So I make the argument to watch 4 through 6, 1 through 3. That just so that you already have a preconception. And then when you watch how they became who they are, the original feeling of Darth Vader and the Emperor are not already influenced by the prequels. Whether you think they're good or not, I think that's... What do you think?
Yeah, it's a BS. Watch it from 1.
Oh my God!
And if
you are
what? Correct? Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, let me just say that. Let me just say that watching Rogue One is the best thing that Disney did, hands down. That was actually well done, and as much as you might take issue with it, for some bizarre reason, they put out one good movie. I mean, I would even make the argument that the Han Solo original movie was not a total train wreck. It was pretty bad, but at least there was still some attempt there. It was. I
got bored.
There's a lot.
Let's just say I got bored, and thank God I did not watch this in the movie theater. I waited until it went to Disney Plus, because if I watch it in movies, I would
better
ask
than
for
like
my money
7,
back.
8, and 9.
Oh my God, yeah. But either way, I think, in my opinion, for them to enter this in the book, as in how you're gonna watch the Star Wars movies, is actually you said it. You said it during your rant. Or your segment of ranting regarding the order. It's the aura of mystery of trying to figure out who is Darth Vader. I get this feeling it's sort of like a hinting that who is this outsider? Who is this outsider? Because it's almost like a prequel. Like this outsider showed up at the end and ruined everyone's life, and we don't know the origin of this. Right?
Yeah.
So,
but
I think that we're going to have a prequel of The Outsider if everyone agrees that The Outsider is a good character to explore. I'm just saying, could be.
Yeah. Well, no, really. I mean, we're not gonna get there. I don't think, with the amount of book we have left. But you're right. It would be an interesting segue to go off of. Maybe Craig's gonna write more. Who the heck knows, right? But the other question is. Do you agree about his comment about Aliens 3? That shouldn't exist.
I agree. Aliens 3 sucks. Yeah, I agree with that one. I have no problems with that.
Yeah, we're all on the same page about Aliens 3. There's no discussion here. We're all on the same freaking page. Okay, what about let's go on to the missiles creating a union.
Yes, that was actually interesting. To be honest, I totally forgot that the missiles actually created a union. I totally forgot about that. When that came up, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And it was a nice break because it was a very serious. It was a way to create a comic relief in the whole book, because it was pretty dark, to be honest. It was a pretty dark time of
these chapters were very dark,
right? So that's why I'm kind of like, oh, it's nice to have a little bit of comic relief, because oh my gosh, it is pretty dark. And by the time that comic relief, it just breaks the monotony of like shooting, jump, shooting, jump. Joe, I need you to think about something. You know what I mean? It was a nice break for that one, right? And yeah, I think it's just an homage in back of, I think it was like book 2 or book 3 with Kevin. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see a little bit of comic relief though. But how about this though? We are going into chapters 21 to 26 for the next episode. What do you think? What's gonna happen next?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking that we're going to switch to hunting down the array now. I think that's where he's pushing the plot. I'm not too sure what to think beyond that. I mean, Frey's death is there. I wonder if, as I mentioned, if we're going to circle back to the spinner, or if we just completely abandon it now. It seems that we're just changing direction in the book. So I assume we're hunting down the array, and I'm assuming that the outsider is going to do some other sketchy stuff to interfere with them.
Okay. For me, because they're heading back to Jaguar, right? What's his name? The captain of the ship. Oh, I keep forgetting her name now. Reed actually made a very good point in chapter 20. If they go back to Earth, Undick will remove him from duties because of the failure of Olympic. For them going back to Jaguar is help them to reset. It helps Joe to reset and help Joe to mourn properly, right? And even the ship's company needs to like put their feet down while they're regrouping, get everything sorted out. But when they're on their way to Jaguar, something will happen enough that it will cause a little bit of havoc. That's why, in my opinion, it will be nice if they go back to Earth and have a little kerfuffle when they get back to Earth. I want Joe
Did you just use the word kerfuffle?
Yes, I did. I want to have a little bit more kerfuffle on Earth, and I want Joe to tell Undick to bugger off. You're not in the field. You're not out there with us, so you don't know anything.
Actually, now that you're bringing it up, I have an interesting curiosity.
Okay, let me hear it.
I'm wondering if he'll get Margaret to join them.
No, I got this feeling Margaret will not. He will not let Margaret join them. Sorry.
Well, I mean,
Margaret will not
she's
join
stuck
them,
on they're stuck on the planet. They can't get a drop ship up and down. I mean, maybe Skippy find a way to do it. I was just wondering if he's going to find a way to incorporate her into the plot. It's just something out of left field there. Probably is not going to happen. But I agree that he's trying to remember. Nobody knows that they have Skippy yet.
Yeah, that's correct.
So
that's correct.
when he goes back to, he's going to go back to Earth and tell them, "Yo, hey, I got Skippy back." Probably not the best plan.
No, I got this feeling they're going to keep it secret as much as possible. If they go back to Jaguar, back to Earth, they're not going to say Skippy's here, right? Remember, even Grumpy already said Skippy's dead. Skippy's gone, right? Even Chang, I think Chang will be nice to come back, but everyone knows that he's gone. They're keeping a secret. For them going to Jaguars actually makes more sense to keep it to keep it a secret longer. If they go back to Earth, Skippy is going to open his mouth. Next thing you know, something's going to happen. But at the same time, I want them to go back to Earth and tell Undeck to bugger off. I want that conflict between Joe and because the reason why is because remember even Columbus Day. He went back to Earth. He got demoted, and Skippy ended up telling him to promote him again. I want him to be thing because he knows who I am. And UNF is like, no. And next, Skippy ended up having his way, right?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at
the opposite now, it's going to be slightly different now, right? Because humans are arrogant again, right? And if they go back to Earth and Undick told him to you've been dismissed, or we're not sending you back out there, and I got this feeling it's gonna be stealing Valkyrie and going out and saving the universe again. I think
Undick is just a suggestion in the plot now. I mean, if you think about it, anytime he goes back to see anyone at now I just lost it. The name of their base.
Oh man.
See, I'm
Jaguar.
blanking.
Jaguar.
Jaguar. Thank you. See, I'm pulling at you. I'm blanking here. Jaguar. Anytime he goes back to, essentially, he doesn't technically run it anymore, but he does. Yes, there's a general there. Yes, the general is in charge of the place. Yes, so forth and so on. But Joe he has the authorities to conscript any of the forces there to join his secret force, right?
Yeah, that's for Black.
That's for Black. So he basically, it's just a suggestion. He just tells him what he's doing. He goes off and does it. They're kind of irrelevant at this point, if you really think about it, because anytime he can walk into a place like, I'm taking that ship, and that ship, come with me. He doesn't need their permission anymore. Where before he was always like, we have to, during Columbus Day and all those, spec ops and all that, we have to go back and ask for instructions. And, that doesn't happen anymore in these books.
No, I agree with you that one because back then, Joe needs some guidance because he was just a young guy. He doesn't have the expertise to do this. He doesn't know what's going on. He knows enough to say, hey, he knows the relationship between humans and the aliens, and he knows all that stuff. He knows how to work, how to figure that out, right? For him going to say, hey, I want to requisition this ship for my task force. Remember, Undick gave him a task force that he can activate anytime for this kind of scenario. That's fine. That's understandable there, right? But Undick can say Task Force Black is officially disbanded. No one's allowed to have this. You are not in command of Task Force Black anymore. They can say that, right? And next thing you know, if as soon as that's been populated throughout the fleet, if Joe says I need this ship, you can tell him to bugger off, right? So for him going back to Jaguar and saying that, oh, we did not hear anything, I'm still in charge, doesn't matter what Undick says, he's still in charge. As soon as he goes back to Earth and Undick told me you're not in charge anymore, you're gone, he lost his command, but his credibility is still intact. Remember, this is the same guy who saved the universe several times. Right, saved Earth several times. If someone tells me you're not going to listen to him anymore, I'm like, well, he did save the universe several times. Do I listen to the guy who hasn't been in space before, or do I listen to a guy who actually knows what they're doing? So there's going to be a lot of conflicts happen. That's why I'm kind of like itching for him to go back to Earth because I want to see that conflict. Right, it'll be nice to read. If he goes back to Jaguar, it'll be like, oh, I didn't hear anything, right?
I don't know about cliffhangers coming up, but do you think that he's going to be able to wrap up the book and what he has left in a way that we're going to be happy with?
Based on what we're reading so far, I think he can. I think
okay.
If this book ends the whole thing. Again, I think I said this several times already in previous books. If Joe dies with Skippy, I'm okay with that. It's a nice ending for a very, very great character, a very great series. And I have no problems with that at all because it makes a lot of sense.
Join us next time for a special celebration of our 100th episode. We will discuss the past 100 episodes and the future of Your Bookmarks Podcast. Join us next time right here where you left off. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share a review. We love to hear from you. Send us an email at yourbookmarksinfo@gmail.com. Join us again right here where you left off.